What's up, and welcome back to the Talk Nutrition podcast. We're back with another mini episode. Today, we're going to talk about the second phase of our three-phase system strategy, where we take you through three distinct phases for a reason. We don't jump into fat loss with people usually because a lot of people come to us, having tried a whole bunch of diets. People already kind of struggle with sometimes maybe crappy metabolism. The hormones are a little bit out of whack. There's no real good habits in place. And we talked about this last week. So if you haven't yet, it's maybe a good idea to go back to last Thursday's episode so that we can dive in there first, phase one, which, this is going to be the third week of January when this launches. Yeah. So we're 3 weeks into the new year. It's already a time where, you see people slow down. There's a reason we start with prepare, right? Phase one. And if you're at the very beginning of your journey, I really do think it's a very good idea, at least to give yourself a little bit of time, as in a couple of weeks, to get ready for the road ahead, because there's no reason to rush. If you've been struggling with nutrition for many months/years, decades, there's no need to try to do everything all at once. If anything, if you've really tried all those diets, I want you to kind of think of, when was the last time I actually focused on just eating enough and feeling good and nourishing and just fueling my body as I'm building good habits, as I'm not stressing my body too much, but just feeling good and building muscle? Because we sometimes neglect that. What we're going to talk about today is the transformation phase, and it's the phase that usually most people think hey, when I join up, or sign up or join a coaching program, or I get a meal plan, whatever it is. People think, hey, it's this X week block where we're going to hate life for a little bit. And then we're just going to go back to whatever the hell we were doing before that. And we all know how that ends up being. And we all know that, as we talked in the first week of the year, in February, so next week basically, most people will already fill their New Year's resolution officially. 80%. The official number in February is 80%. And by December, it's 90 plus, whatever. Which is not something I think we need to worry about, because you're, of course, going to be the 10%. But I think we do want to avoid making the same mistakes. And that's the thing. People miss out on the preparation stage as well as the keeping it off part. So think about it this way. Your transformation, today's topic, right? The main phase, I guess, where you make the biggest difference. The transformation is, let's call it the diet, or your in season. Let's call it in season, because I don't like the word diet too much, but it's your in season. Just like an athlete, whatever sport you like, they never just stay in that in season all year. No, there's a preseason where they get ready, right? They prepare, they ramp up training, etc. Then it's their in season, it's go time, And then it's post. It's their off season. It's recovery, it's rest. And it's the same thing here. And this is what our logo stands for. It's hey, we get you ready, we transform, we go to maintain. So it's the diet before the diet, the actual diet, and then the diet after the diet. And I always say, without the diet before the diet, your results are likely to suck, or at least be less optimal. And then without the diet after the diet, they're usually not going to last. Because as we know, it's not even a weight loss problem generally for most people. You can go online, you can do the strict diets, and you'll be losing weight. For the most part, if you adhere to it. Because the restrictive diets, they do work for weight loss. However, what happens afterwards? What happens then when you go back to normal, in quotes? Normal. I always wonder, do we just stop caring about our goals, or it's also part just not knowing, so I can't blame people. Because I'm too familiar with this stuff. I've seen this for years now. I've talked to people who come and join a program and say, I've tried just about any diet under the sun. I've really tried it all. And I regained it again and again. And I've lost. I just talked to someone last week. They said, hey, I've really tried. I'm 40 something currently. I've tried to lose weight since my early 20s. So for 2 decades, these people, sometimes longer, right? Try to lose weight. And hey, maybe that's you listening currently. Or maybe a couple of years, whatever it is. It's fucking frustrating. So let's also work on the keeping it off parts, which we'll talk about next week. But for now, you're in season. Because I do want to keep to our 15 minutes for the mini episodes. But you're in season. Like, what are we going to be doing here? What's the most important stuff? Remember, we talked last week about preparing, building momentum, learning about nutrition, creating good habits, and just fueling and nourishing the body. So that then when we are good to go, and if you work with us, like we both decide to stick together, like, hey, like you the client and us the coach, like as a team, we decide, hey, are we good to go? Or do you think we should wait a little longer? If we both think, hey, it's go time, like let's do it. And we plan for these things already. So we'll know when this is going to come up. But like I said, like you're in season, it's fucking go time, you know? That's when we do the work. And I know that's strict and restrictive, and those words, like, they're like, you know, off limits these days. But you know what? Like, if you have goals, you're going to have to get a little strict. And that's maybe the reality people don't want to hear, but like, we got to do the work. We got to do the work. We got to show up. And it's not always going to be easy. And whether your goal is fat loss or maybe muscle gain followed by fat loss, either way, we're going to have to make sure that we adhere. Because when you gain weight in a muscle gain phase, that's going to, right, come with a bunch of body fat gain if you go too fast. So when you are in a bulk, or let's call it a lean gain phase, like you're going to have to be super adherent with your macros. When it comes to fat loss too, like we want to really make sure that we stay adherent to the protocol so that we can control your rate of weight loss, so that you maintain your muscle and you lose body fat. That's the whole, like that's the name of the game here. Like muscle gain, fat loss, like that weight is so important, not even just because we want to see that lighter or heavier weight. Like, no, it's the tool that we use to allow for muscle gain optimally and fat loss optimally. That's why we use that skill. Now, here's the thing. What are we going to do during that in-season? Go time, right? We do the work, we persist, we keep going, and we continue to improve our processes. Think about it this way. You just got ready. We are now good to go. We have good routines in place. We get ready to do the work. But life will always throw shit at you. And this is not something that you're going to be able to avoid. And this is not something that makes you less perfect, whatever you want to call it. This is not something that you should beat yourself up about. There's no point. This is something that's part of the journey. It's part of the Odyssey. I mean, again, it's the company name. Like, what does it stand for? What's the Odyssey? The Odyssey is the journey. It's the journey of life. Like, you have a destination that you want to get to, but along that journey, there's shit that happens along the way. And there's skills to be acquired, and knowledge to be learned, and experience to be gained. That's the Odyssey, right? The setbacks are part of it. It wouldn't be the Odyssey without that. And without getting too poetic here, like that is how it's going to be. That's why we are called Odyssey Coaching Systems. It's the journey. It's a perfect metaphor for your fitness journey, because it will come up. So let's not expect things to be perfect, because they will not be. So here's the thing. We said we're going to do the work, but we're also going to persist. You need a certain level of stubbornness to keep going. We recently talked about courage being one of our, 4 values, the 4 virtues. Courage is huge, because you need to have the courage to take action. You need to have the courage to keep going when you're met with friction. You're going to have to get uncomfortable quite a bit for a little while to see those results that you say are so important. So let's not expect things to be easy, because it will not be. Now, I will say this too, right? Because when I say these kind of things of taking action and courage and friction and obstacles, it's not to discourage you. And you know what? Like, a lot of times it's really not going to be that bad. But I'm just saying, like, it's not going to be easy all the time. Be ready to put in the work, and you'll get to that point. But that's why I'm saying persist, because there's only one difference between the person who fails and the person who succeeds. And that's that the person who succeeds fails more often, but keeps going anyway. The person who fails, right? They fail once and they stop, they give up. So you take action, you persist. And like I said, we continuously want to improve the process. With a coach, this is relatively easy because you have someone on your team and you can go back and forth. You can shoot ideas back and forth. You can talk about this stuff. Hey, this week I struggle with this. Okay, busyness. Okay, what can we do about it? Hey, cravings. Okay, what can we do about it? Let's look at your protein, your fiber. Can we look at your meal frequency, your meal preps, your schedule? Like, what do we need to do to make this upcoming week run a little smoother? Because I'm not saying that, right, as much as yes, it's due to work and we need to persist, that it's all going to be, right, just do the thing and there's your result. We want to continuously think, how can we apply this consistently? How can we actually do this with our schedule? Because nutrition, I just talked about this on the phone too, is like the nutrition and fitness journey and health is like, it's not separate from your job and your life and your social settings and your connections and your relationships. It all goes hand in hand. So that's exactly why we continuously want to reflect. And if you do this with the coach, it's easy. If you do it on your own, I hope that you have a journaling or maybe meditation practice in place, because you're going to need it. Like you're going to be able to kind of catch yourself, but only when you do those kind of things. I mean, there's a reason why people have been journaling for thousands of years. Like literally, you know, there's a reason why in just about every culture, there is some form of meditation. And sure, Western and Eastern is like a little different, but a lot of the basic principles are the same. It's that stillness. We got to get that stillness in life. We want to make sure that we do not just go, but we also allow ourselves to reflect continuously. And that's really part of the process here. You reflect, you look how things are going. Okay, what do we need to do now to move forward the upcoming week? How will we do that in terms of, okay, how will you actually put that into action? And if you do not know, who will I ask? Because sometimes it's not how, it's who. Like, hey, like who will I ask for help? Which coach? Which friend? Family member? Like I said, I can almost guarantee that you know someone in your direct environment who at least can help you move forward. And if not, you reach out to me because I'm always happy to help. And this is what we do full time. This is, 24/7, like our passion project, but also a responsibility. And I've talked about this recently. It's like, that's why I'm sharing our processes here. And with these processes too, like you're going to still have to apply everything before it actually clicks and before you actually see the results. But still, I need to share this stuff because I know how important it is. So as you are going into February, which is soon, so I mean, time is flying, but since we're already almost going into a new month, keep that stuff in mind to be ready to, to deal with the setbacks, but also keep going. But to be honest with yourself, to be honest and also think like, hey, should I really be chasing this current fat loss goal right now? Or do I still have some habit building to do? Am I kind of messing around like most people, trying to do everything all at once? Should I go to prepare phase 1? Should I actually take a break and then go into the transformation phase? Do I need help? Can I actually reach out to a coach so that I can get more accountability guidance because I don't really know what to do? There's no right or wrong, but I want you to be really thinking like ahead of time and catch yourself, because that's the biggest thing here. And with our clients, like we make sure this is set up beforehand so there's no guessing. But I can imagine that you're listening to this podcast and you might be wondering, hey, I don't really know what to do right now. I feel overwhelmed. There's so many different things to do, so many different things to learn. There's the skills that you don't have yet, the experience that you don't have yet. It does get overwhelming. So if you want to start, amazing. If you are good to go, like I said, transformation phase, like it's go time. If you're not ready yet, that's okay. Then go to, the episode from last week and start preparing, start building momentum, build the habits. Get healthy first, get consistent, just focus on feeling good, building some muscle at the gym, and then you can take it from there. But only then. Make sense? Once again, thanks for listening. I like these mini episodes. I think it's good to kind of stick to shorter ones every now and then. So next week on Thursday, we'll be back to talk about the third phase, the last phase, which is maintain, which is where really like it's the off season, which almost feels like, hey, there's no goal, but like, no, like that's where you solidify your results. And that is where a lot of people go wrong because they skip that last phase. So make sure to also pay attention. If you haven't yet by now, you could go into the show notes and download my free ebook, The Definitive Fat Loss Nutrition Guide. It's super in-depth. I cover basically everything you need to know, from building meals to periodization, your metabolism, sleep, stress management, routines. Like there's so much stuff in there. It's almost like everything you need to know. Like, to be honest with you, it is everything you need to know to create results. It's 81 pages. It's super in-depth and it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to the description, download it there. All you got to do is drop your email and you'll get it right away. And that being said, I will talk to you again on Monday. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And let's see what the topic is going to be yet. By this time, I'm going to be writing it, but I'm going to finish this one first. So I'll talk to you soon.